All right, IM1 classes. We are talking about modeling quantities today. Really, what we're doing is solving proportions. A proportion is just when you set two ratios equal to each other. And then a ratio is just a fraction. So all we're doing is setting two fractions equal to each other, and we're going to solve for an unknown variable. So here's an example of proportion. We have our two fractions, 9 over x, 5 over 2. All you need to do is cross multiply when you're given a proportion. So to cross multiply, I do 9 times 5 and x times 2. So it's the top of one fraction times the bottom of the other, and then the bottom times the top. So it's 9 times 5 is equal to x times 2, or 2 times x. 9 times 5 is 45. 2 times x is 2x. And then we just solve by dividing. So to solve for x, I have to divide both sides by 2. The 2's on this right side here, the times 2 cancels out the divided by 2, and then 45 divided by 2. That is 22.5. So for delta math, you either need to enter the decimal or you could leave it as a reduced fraction. This is reduced enough. This is as reduced as it gets. So either one of these will give you the correct answer in delta math. All right. This one's similar problem, but we have a negative. All right. Some kids looking at the negative. When you have a negative fraction, they like to think when the negative's in front, they always get confused. Does the negative go on top? Does it go on bottom? Or do they both get a negative? Three of the four of these are okay. One of them is not. The one that does not work is this one. A negative over a negative is a positive. So this would actually end up being a positive 6 over v. These other ways, you can move the negative to the top, or you can move it to the bottom, or you can just keep it out in front. When I'm working with proportions, I like to move it to the top, and that just makes it easier to keep track of the negative. So I'm going to move it to the top. So it's negative 6 over v is equal to 2 times 4. And then I'm going to cross multiply. So it's going to be v times 2. And then negative 6 times 4 on the other side. So v times 2, or 2v, we'll do 2 times v, is equal to negative 6 times 4. 2 times v, say it's 2v, negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. To solve for v, this is multiplying, so the opposite of multiplying is dividing. The times v and divide by v cancel out. So all you're left with is a v is equal to negative 24 divided by 2 is 12. Make sure you're keeping track of those negatives. All right, you can pause the video and work on this one on your own. I'm going to go ahead and start it now. What I have been forgetting all these is a line of separation. I'm going to start including that so we can keep track of the equal sign. Again, I'm going to just rewrite this so that the negative is just in the top, just to help keep track of that negative. Then I cross multiply, so x times 3, or 3 times x, however you want to write it. I'm going to put the number first because that's how we're used to seeing it. And then 6 times negative 2. 3 times x is 3x. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. And then to finish solving for x, I need to divide. So 3 times x, divide both sides by 3. Times 3 divided by 3 cancels out. And I'm left with x is equal to negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. So those are the easy proportions to solve. The second part of our lesson is working with proportion word problems. So we're going to do a bunch of these to practice because practice is the best way to get better at these. So 1 week, Madeline earned $61.20 at her job when she worked for 4 hours. If she is paid the same hourly wage, how many hours would she have to work the next week to earn $214.20? So for this, we want to set up the proportion. I'm going to set up what my proportion is going to look like just by the units before I set up the actual numbers. So I have money and hours worked. So the other one is money here. And we are trying to figure out how many hours. So I'm going to set up a proportion. That's going to be total money earned over hours. This ratio, you can flip this however you want. It can be hours over money. You just need to, whatever you do, whatever you set it equal to, it needs to be the same. So my next one is going to be money over hours. All right. So this, the 612 and the 4 hours go together. So excuse me, not 612, 6120. So she made 6120 for working 4 hours. All right. And then we want to figure out how many hours she worked if she made $214.20. We don't know how many hours she worked, so I'm going to use a variable to represent that. I'm going to use H. Now the proportion is set up. So once it's set up, I can solve just like we did with the other one. I'm going to put in my line of separation here. Cross multiply, so 6120 times H is equal to 4 times 214.20. So 4 times 214.20. You can go ahead and use a calculator for that. I don't expect you to be able to do that in your head. So 4 times 214.20 comes out to 856.80. And Delta Math actually has a calculator attached to it, so you can use the Delta Math calculator too. And then the last step is to solve for H is to divide. So divide by 6120. So 6120, that cancels out. We get H is equal to, using the calculator, 14. So 856.8 divided by 61.2 is 14. So they worked 14 hours. All right. So next one, this is your turn. 1 week, Jason earned $404.70 at his job when he worked 19 hours. If he is paid the same hourly wage, how many hours would he have to work to earn the same? So I'm going to help you set this up and then have you solve it. So to set it up, remember I'm going to set up a proportion where the ratios, the units of the ratios are matching. So I'm going to do money over hours again. And that needs to be equal to money over hours over here. So the ones that match up, the money, 404.70 is going to match up with 19 hours. So that's going to be 404.70 divided by 19. And then it's going to be the hours. The money here goes on top. We're setting money on top. So it's going to be 617.70. And we're trying to find out how many hours he worked. So I'm just going to put in H for hours. Go ahead and solve this on your own. You can pause the video and then check your work when you're done. I am going to go ahead and finish working this out. So I'm going to add my line of separation. And then just like all the other problems, start off by cross multiplying. So 40470 times H is equal to 19 times 617.70. So multiply that out, 19 times 617.70. That comes out to 11,000.736.3. And then over here, 404.70 times H. And then last step is to divide both sides by 40470. Extra point, 404.70. So 11, so divided by, so you get 404, comes out to 29. So you worked for 29 hours. All right, just two more problems. So it cost Joseph $21.90 to send 146 text messages. How many text messages did he send if he spent $6.45? So same thing. I'm going to set up a proportion with the ratios. So money over messages. Not going to write out the whole word. And I'm going to, my other ratio is going to be the same thing, how much it costs for messages. And you can flip flop that all you want as long as it stays the same. Both of them are the same. So it's going to be money over messages. So that one's going to be 2190 over 146 text messages. And so this one is 645 over the messages, so I'll just use M for message. And then you solve it the same way like we've been solving all of them. You need to cross multiply. So 2190 times M is 21.90 M is equal to 146 times 6.45. So 146 times 6.45 is 941.70. So 941.70. And then all you need to do is divide. So divide by 21. So divide by 21.90. Divide by 21.90. 21.90. These cancel out over here, and you're left with M is equal to, get on a calculator, 43. So he sent 43 text messages. All right, last problem. Why don't you guys give this one a try on your own, and then work through it. And then check your answer is done. I'll go ahead and start working through it. So Claire bought 10 chicken wings for $17. Claire spent $5.10. How many chicken wings did she buy? I'm going to keep this consistent with the money on top, like we've been doing all of them. So money goes on top, and she's buying it chicken wings. So W for wings. So my proportions are going to be money over wings. Money over wings. So $17 for 10 wings, so it's going to be $17. And I don't actually need to put in the 0.00. I can just leave it at 17. And then this is going to be $5.10 and we don't know how many wings she bought. Oh, so we do know how many she bought for $10 or for $17. She got 10 wings. We don't know how much that is for 510, how many wings that is. So just like the other problems, we're going to cross multiply. Let me get my line of separation in here real quick. Just like the other problems, cross multiply. So 17 times W is equal to 10 times 5.10. So you get 17W is equal to 10 times 5.10 is 51. Divide both sides by 17 now. And times 17 divided by 17 cancels out, and you get W is equal to 3. And there we go. We are done. Go ahead and you can work on the assignment in Delta Math. Make sure you complete the assignment today or whatever day it is assigned for your class. You should have enough time to complete it before your scheduled class time is over. So get to work, and we'll see you later.